Hello, everybody. I am so excited to be here today. I am going to introduce you to Stephanie Lowe. She's the owner of Destiny Wellness Center. She has a passion for psychology, health, wellness, and finances. Stephanie has a diverse background, equipped with a coaching certificate in cognitive behavioral therapy. She is also a registered clinical kinesiologist, yoga teacher, realtor, and is working towards completing her doctorate in counseling psychology. Stephanie applies her knowledge and skills to empower individuals to reach their highest state of well-being, mental clarity, and financial success. She is an expert at assisting her community to attain abundance in mind, body, and bank account. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you so much. Very, very, very happy to be here.
Oh, great. I just want us to dive right in. So we've been connecting over email and talking about what we want you to teach and talk about and have folks kind of learn more about is true abundance. So can you tell me, what does that phrase mean to you?
Sure. Well, abundance really is very multifaceted. I truly believe that we exist, and we are mental, we are physical, with many aspects to our life, and I feel like when seeking abundance, true abundance, that it is apparent in all of these different areas. And many times when people hear the word abundance, they really think it's financial only, or that's where their mind goes to. And the experience of abundance absolutely is within that realm, but it definitely pours out into so many other areas. So as we talk today about true abundance, and that's like abundance of peace, abundance of happiness, of freedom, health, vitality, contentment within ourselves. I really want people to recognize that we have a choice. You have a choice, and you can do the work. You can change your mind. You can change your life. You can really shift things and achieve experiencing the life of your dreams. And if that stirs up some fears and some hesitations and some of those little oppositions, then I want to challenge those thoughts and those fears today. And we're going to run through a lot of information activities to really activate that. And I want everyone to just recognize that they can and should and are worthy of experiencing, again, an abundant life in all areas.
I love this. So yes, for sure. I think financial kind of comes to mind, but you talked about peace. You talked about vitality. Is there a way, can we work on abundance in all areas at once, or do we have to do one at a time? Can you tell us a little bit more?
Sure. I really believe it's about like aligning ourselves again with that reality. And I kind of made a note that if we are aligning ourselves with an abundance mindset, and we are doing the work, and we are making the choices to be the best version of ourselves, then that financial piece is just going to flow along with everything else. And in my background, so on one side, yoga teacher, kinesiologist, meditation, do my silent retreats and all that kind of stuff. And then on the other hand, just being in the financial world and understanding how things work there, I really noticed, I guess, or observed how the two can interact. And sometimes our thoughts and beliefs existence in one realm really affects the other. So if our mindset is in alignment, and we again are not living within a sphere of fear and doubt, if our mindset is in the right place, then we're going to go and take those risks that are necessary to advance our financial success. We're going to put forth the behaviors. We're going to seek out advisors. We're going to do the things we need to do to get success in that area. And then I think part of that to be able to enjoy it and not be caught up on the just seeking the financial abundance side can sometimes lead to a lot of health concerns, stress. Sometimes people are afraid that, oh, you only attain financial freedom and abundance, through dishonest ways or being cutthroat in business. And that's certainly not true. You can, again, have abundance in all these different areas and experience peace and happiness in the fullness of your whole life as you're meant to be, as we are meant to be.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How can we start? Where is the best starting place to start living in true abundance?
I really believe it comes back to our mindset. So our thoughts create our reality, and I'm sure many people have heard that. And I hope today at the end of our discussion you will realize how very, very true that is. Our thoughts dictate our behaviors and our actions, and then our behaviors and our actions help to dictate our outcome, our consequences, our experiences. So to bring our desires and to bring our mindset of abundance into reality, we have to make sure that that alignment is there. So I really believe that it comes back to that. And what I think about is in our minds. Okay, so the brain doesn't distinguish when we're thinking about all of our fears or visualizing how something might work out in our day. Our mind doesn't actually distinguish between our experienced reality and then what it is visualizing. So it's a very powerful place to start to make sure that our thoughts and the things that we're visualizing are in line with, again, the behaviors and actions that we want to achieve those outcomes that are in line with our dreams. So if I were to kind of break it down a little bit, again, our thoughts create our reality. So our thoughts are going to lead to our behaviors, which leads to our outcomes. And we want our behaviors and our actions to align with where we want to go. So I'll encourage people to actually step back and recognize, what is it that you're doing? What is it that you are thinking? If you were to ask yourself, and this is a great reflection to take a moment to do, if you were to ask yourself, what are the behaviors and actions of folks who are living the life that I want to live? What are they doing? What are they thinking? How are they, feeling? How would you feel if you were in that energy and space? What are their daily habits and routines? And start to break down some of these things. Check in with your own thoughts, check in with your own behaviors, and see if there's any areas that you can kind of adjust. Again, if it comes back to mindset, if it comes back to where you're investing, how you're spending your money, are you paying bills with love and gratitude and tipping people, or are you, living in a space of scarcity and fear? Well, if I tip too much, I'm not going to have enough to go out again, or if, these kind of things. So it's kind of rehearsing and practicing in our mind to see where we want to be so that we can start to see the shift. So I do strongly believe that it really takes place within our mind first.
Wow, that's powerful in the sense that it starts with our thoughts and it continues with our thoughts, in the sense of whatever I'm thinking will come out through my actions, right? So I need to be so aware of that. How can one become more aware of their thoughts if they're in a scarcity mindset or in an abundant mindset?
Sure. Well, there's many practices. There's many tools that one can use to do that. As tapping into my yoga side, I would say it really takes becoming more aware, creating space to actually think. So sometimes I've done classes where we're assessing our self-talk. So as we're going through a class, I'll ask people, what thoughts are going through your mind as you're transitioning in and out of different yoga poses? Is your talk encouraging? Is your talk focused, oh my gosh, what are people thinking about me, or how do I look doing this pose? Or are you saying, wow, this feels good, I want to push, I want to challenge myself? How are you speaking to yourself. We need to become more aware of our self-talk and more aware of our thoughts and more aware of our emotions. And it's not to place any kind of judgment on it, as you know, in terms of saying, well, and you will hear me use positive and negative today for sure, but I don't mean to really break it down that way. I just mean to say, if we're becoming more aware of our thoughts and our actions, are they in line with where we are trying to go? You know, so if we're kind of going back to this idea of abundance again, I want to talk a little bit more about it and just that expansive kind of definition. So we're seeing abundance all around us. Again, I really believe it's like a universal truth. It is like our birthright. We're a part of nature. It's meant to be. And you can see abundance when you look in the sky, when you look at the ocean, when you look in a forest, see the trees, different types of trees, different types of animals. Even in an apple, how many seeds are in an apple? A strawberry, how many seeds? You know, like abundance is just a part of nature. And we want to tap into that and recognize our right to experience that abundance in all again, in all areas. So if we are having that talk to think that we are unworthy, right? And I'm going to give an exercise a little bit later to kind of go through that. If we're recognizing that we're saying we're unworthy or fearful things, no, I can't do that. No, I can't step out and, you know, try this new investment or whatever, then we're really getting stuck. And I think that big place is just understanding not to compromise our worthiness and not to compromise reaching out. One of the things that really gets people stuck is limiting beliefs. This is something I started learning about earlier on in my own personal healing journey. And I find there's so much strength and power when we can kind of name things, when we can identify things for what they are, when I kind of talked about awareness. So limiting beliefs is kind of getting into some core values that we hold within ourselves. So they're beliefs and core values that hold us back, that cause us to doubt our own abilities, our own worthiness. Very, very, very common for many people. And usually we want to trust our mind, right? We want to trust the thoughts that we have. And not many people take the time to stop and challenge some of the thoughts that are just flowing through our mind throughout the day, right? It's very natural as you're going through to hear, you know, whatever little assessments and things. And our mind is wired to alert us to danger, to kind of like check in, to find solutions to problems. Our mind is consistently assessing things. But it really is about taking a moment, taking a breath, and assessing or second guessing or challenging some of those things. Is this really true? And it's not that we're trying to lie to ourselves or our brain is trying to lie to us or deceive us or anything like that. But it's just about identifying some of these things that don't necessarily serve like our greater purpose and our vision and where we're striving to go. And it's so easy for our mind to make these sort of like faulty connections because of our past, our traumas and experiences, and just, you know, how the mind might associate things, even though they're not directly associated. If that kind of makes a little bit of sense. So in CBT, so in cognitive behavioral therapy, we focus specifically on, having discussions and performing exercises to identify some of these limiting beliefs and some of these cognitive distortions. And I'm going to share some of them today. Like I said, it's so powerful when we can identify these things. Again, in my own healing journey, when I realized that some of the natural self-talk that I was having was a thing, was an identified thing, I was like, oh, right, I can catch myself. I can shift my thinking because I have a choice. I'm the one, who's in control. And I started to, regain my power and regain my peace.
Regaining your power. Amazing. That is so inspiring. Can you give us like an actual example of a limiting belief, and then how, with the tools, doing the work, how you would work through that to kind of work on changing it, shifting it?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Well, the cognitive behavioral therapy, like I said, is a process of identifying some of these limiting beliefs, and very often when I'm talking to people, worthiness is a huge one that comes up. You know, just not feeling like you fit in, not feeling you're lovable is another huge one, um, and it takes a little bit of digging to get unroot or get to the root of some surface fears that you might be experiencing. Maybe you're constantly making excuses or procrastinating around particular things, but it's kind of, you have to kind of ask yourself this as you're sitting down, you know, what is kind of popping up, and then you start to identify a little bit of a theme. So the in CBT, this distorted thinking patterns, they call them, or maladaptive thoughts. I'll give you some guys examples, but it's just identifying those patterns and then finding the way to challenge them and then to shift them. So some other ones might be all or nothing thinking. So that's like just black or white, either just believing that things are true or untrue, and there's no sort of gray area. Something is either wonderful or it's just completely terrible. Instead of having sort of that open mind to say, okay, maybe, let's take things in, have an open mind and say, I agree with some pieces, some of that is not for me, right? And just kind of breaking that down. Another one is overgeneralizing. So thinking that, let's say you're in school and you get like a C on your test, or a D or an F, whatever it may be. Okay, maybe not the best grade that you would have liked to see. And just from that one test, you think, I'm unworthy. I shouldn't be in school. What am I doing here? I'm a terrible student. An athlete, you make a mistake, you miss the last shot and you're thinking, or even on the job, you make a mistake on the job and you think, my boss is going to fire me, the worst employee, I don't deserve this. That one's like jumping to conclusions. It's just inaccurate beliefs that just kind of getting you stuck. Another one is almost like mind reading. So you think you know what other people are thinking about you. So someone makes a comment and you automatically internalize that as something negative when it may not be associated to your situation whatsoever. A common one for people in social situations is, you're in a room and there's people across the room and you see them laughing and totally convinced that they're laughing at you because of the outfit that you wore that day or how you're carrying yourself, and somehow you think it's related to you, but in reality they're joking about a meme they saw earlier that day. Jumping to conclusions. Magnification and catastrophizing, this was the one for me that, again, when I learned that it was a thing, was really, really powerful. And catastrophizing is, they call it like the binocular trick. So you, let's say someone is late coming home, you automatically think, oh my goodness, they were in a car accident. Like your just mind goes to the absolute worst case scenario right away. And obviously that's very stress inducing. It's causing a lot of anxiety, and it can kind of get you into a very negative cycle of thought. So all of these particular beliefs and cognitive distortions will kind of snowball and take you away again from experiencing that state of well-being, and can actually lead to things like depression and other mental health conditions and disorders. So it really is important that we take the time to practice and identify some of these things. So one of the practices we can do to combat some of these limiting beliefs and distortions. The first one is this a fact or is this an opinion? And this is so powerful. This is so powerful. Just because, you have to recognize that people have different perspectives. People apply different meanings to different situations and experiences. And if you hear something, whether that's a self-talk, right? I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable. Is that really true? Can you think of some cases where people do actually love you? Can you challenge the fact that you think you're unworthy of experiencing financial freedom because of your background? But again, whatever trauma and experiences you had in the past, can you challenge some of those thoughts? And the more we start to challenge them, we just start shifting the lens. We start looking for a different perspective and can now uncover different kind of truths. The other one is kind of like putting the thoughts on trial. So you, in this particular activity, you write down that limiting belief, that again, that fear, that thing that's causing you to procrastinate all the time. What is that thing? And then now you yourself are going to pretend you are the defense attorney, you are the prosecutor, you are the judge. You are just kind of assessing, and you're going to break down this irrational thought, this fear, and evaluate it and really see the truth in it and break it down for what it is. So those are a few activities. And in CBT, oftentimes we use journaling. So, you grab your journal and you write down, just answer some of these questions. When am I making up excuses? Is there any part of my life when I'm faced with it, people are inviting me out or whatever it is, that I tend to procrastinate? Something on the job, again, something related to finances. If every time it comes up to invest and my financial advisor wants to meet with me, I'm making excuses, I'm not doing it. Is there an instance where you are usually making assumptions? So you're allowing these false beliefs to kind of pop up. What do you complain about a lot? What spurs some of these negative spiraling thinking patterns? And then again, you identify those thoughts, you challenge them. Are these true? Is this really true? Are there instances when this is not true? What are the consequences I'm experiencing in my life because of this particular thought? And then how can we shift it to create something that's more empowering and serving of where we want to be?
Yeah.
Sorry, I said a lot there.
No, that was
right.
so amazing. Like what popped in my head, I can't remember who said this saying, but it's like, oh, but what if I fail? Oh, honey, but what if you fly? Right?
Exactly.
It's like, let's look at the other side. Let's look at other options or other outcomes, because we can have that tunnel vision, like you're talking about. That limiting belief feels so real, and it's the lens that you're seeing everything through, and that's what you're believing. And I love CBT, like you were sharing, of challenge it, be the judge, jury, prosecutor. Like let's find the truth in this lie that you're telling yourself, right? And
Yes.
that is powerful, absolutely powerful, to see it differently. So what do you see changes when people start to challenge these limiting beliefs? Like what is on the other side of that?
Freedom, abundance. Again, it's multifaceted, and people will often, when they start to challenge these thoughts, or when I ask the question, inviting them to challenge, could you possibly look at this another way? Could there possibly be another answer? It is freeing. It is so freeing. It breaks down fears. It opens doors. It is so powerful. And at first, it's kind of this very interesting, if you're open to it, a very interesting journey of, just getting inquisitive and just playing around. Like I said, looking at things from different perspectives. I was in a meditation, and as the person was leading the meditation, they kind of broke down. Think about an event that was very, let's say, pivotal or impactful on your life, right? And something traumatic for you, something that just kind of set the pace for your decisions and what's holding you back, and all that kind of stuff. And now just take away the sound, take away the emotion. Imagine you're a fly on the wall that is just observing this action, like this interaction of what happened. And when you kind of peel away the story of what you were telling yourself, that assigned meaning, that meaning making that you made of it, if you took all that away, what like just happened at the basis of things. And now you have the power to rewrite the story. And for me at that moment, allowed me to heal relationships, just open the door, have those first conversations. And I got very bold and reached out to all kinds of people from, my younger years and whatnot, and just kind of said, like, this was my experience. What did you mean? What were you going through at that time? This is what I thought. This is how it impacted my life and, things going forward. But what did it mean to you? What were you going through? And just gaining that different understanding and giving that situation grace and peace allowed me to let it go and allow me to move forward. And I think that's where people get in the place of, and is that healing journey. Also, that first step, you're just peeling away some of the initial stages, and there's just layers and layers and layers to healing. But it's beautiful, and it's beautiful to watch. Literally, session after session or time after time, just seeing how people begin to transform their lives and just live in that true abundant space. I'd like to kind of touch on fears as well.
Yes.
I think that is a huge one, and it kind of ties in a little bit too with some of our cognitions and how we label things, and again how we prescribe meaning to some of these experiences. Again, like our minds, our brain is always problem solving, assessing, breaking things down. And I think that sometimes fears are very much viewed in a negative way, and that's very understandable. Fear can feel like this scary monster. It's, bringing all kinds of anxiety, and it's stopping us from stepping outside of our comfort zone. But stepping outside of our comfort zone is what allows us to have something different than what we're experiencing now, right? Again, you have a choice. You've been making choices all along that have brought you to the space and place and experiences that you're in right now. All of your choices have led you to this space. So if we want something different, we want something outside of that comfort zone, we need to start changing our minds, making different choices. So I tell people to just kind of face those fears, those things that are popping up, and take small steps. Be strong, be brave. At one point in my life, decided I was just going to go ahead, and anything I was afraid of, I was just going to like dive in. I'm afraid of heights, so I did like hang gliding and all kinds of stuff. I just wanted to prove to myself that there's nothing that you can't overcome. And if you do feel fear before you do it, that's okay. Thank you, fear, for checking in and letting me know that, there's some level of something that I need to assess and understand and prepare for. A really nice, I guess, analogy or so related to fear that I love sharing that I heard was, let's say you're like on a long drive, and fear can come along. Fear can be a passenger in the back seat, and it can watch out and let me know, hey, there's a stop sign, or hey, are you going the right way? Perfect, no problem, thank you. I can thank fear for its input and guidance and whatnot. But fear will not have access to the steering wheel, the brakes, the gas, the radio, nothing. Fear is in the back seat, and and that's about it. That's about it. If we can start again, challenge the fears, expand our comfort zone, and step out, and just recognize that we're not letting our fears stop us from achieving anything. And when we talk about abundance, I think a lot of times fear comes up. Well, I don't know what it's like. I can't even imagine myself living, my dream life. That's scary. Am I worthy of that? Like, can I really do that? Or do people really even live their ideal life? Am I too old? Am I too young? And all these things kind of start popping up. But I think that fear, if we check it and don't let it control us, then it can even become part of our practice, of our mindset practice. That when these fears and doubts pop up, telling us that we're not worthy, this negative self-talk, we can actually say, or something bad is going to happen, we can say, all things happen for my good. Thanks, but I know that all things happen for my good. Or you're unworthy, you're unlovable. no, I am worthy of all the good things in this world. You know, I'm a good person. We can practice these affirmations and just that rewiring and redirecting of our thoughts. Some great affirmations that I use with in related to abundance. So like these are some ones that I use for myself. Money comes easily, frequently, and in abundance, and just regardless of whatever is happening around me or any fears that might pop up, that is my truth. Money comes easily, frequently, and in abundance. All things happen for my greater good, as I said. I lovingly release the past and expect the best now and in my future. And that has been an affirmation I have been using for like at least 15 years.
Love it.
Yeah, I lovingly release any, you know, when my fear comes up and I'm gonna try to step forward into a new relationship, into new, you know, expanding my career, whatever it may be, going back to school, anything that pops up and, you know, reminds me of the challenges and stuff that I faced. Thank you is all part of the journey, but I know where I'm going, I know what I want, and that's where I'm focused on. So I hope that helps somebody, you know, kind of again reframing when it comes to fears and how we can use it to empower us
Yeah.
and instead of letting it take control of our lives.
I really, just hit home for me in the sense of I'm going to thank the fear for doing its job, because that's fear's job, is to alert me to certain things. Are we going the right way? What's happening? I'll thank the fear, but like you said, I'm the one in the driver's seat. You can be my passenger, absolutely. And I expect you to be along for the ride, but I'm in control of this journey. I love that. Um, Earlier, you kind of talked about visualizing and then journaling. Can you give us some like specifics of how people can utilize those tools in their life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Visualizing, get excited. Like, get, find, I'm trying to find the right way to put this. So, okay, good question is if I was living my ideal life, if I was experiencing abundance the way I want to experience it, you know, you just woke up one day and you were in that place, what would be different? How would you know that you are experiencing your ideal life?
Mm.
What would be different? You know, oh, I'd wake up and I would feel rested. I would wake up and I would look outside and whatever those little signs are, visualize. And as you visualize those things, how does it make you feel? And this is where journaling can come in too. You know, like my chest is feeling, my shoulders are relaxing down. You know, so I'm smiling. You know, tap into those things, get excited as you're visualizing, attach that emotion to it. Like I said earlier, again, the mind isn't really distinguishing between those experiences and the visualization. So we want to create alignment within ourselves to get us to where we want to be. I love vision boards. I've been doing them for so many years. Sometimes they get more elaborate, and if I show people, they're like, "Wow, what is that?" Can you explain this to me? But it's things that just get me excited, and it's so cool to see those things become manifested in, you know, in our lives, in my life over time, as I continue to visualize and just catch that vision. I put myself in spaces amongst people, in places that are in line with where I want to be, and I just get it in my head, so that anything else that is in opposition to that, I know that that is not my truth. I know that that's not where I want to be. Again, the thoughts lead to the behaviors, and the actions lead to the outcomes. So we have to start in here, and that's where I think the power of visualization is. Just sit down and dream. You know, get comfortable, light a candle, light your incense, whatever it is you love to do. Sit down and dream, and allow yourself to go there. Attach the excitement, attach the emotion. So that's the visualization piece. The journaling piece is very simple, or very similar, I should say. It's helpful because you have a record of, as you're kind of dissecting and breaking down those thoughts. When we talked about being the jury and the defense attorney and whatnot, you can write down these things. And repetition is also wonderful. Writing down your affirmations. I have pages and pages of me just writing things down. a great exercise as well with journaling is sometimes there might be an affirmation. When you say it, you feel some resistance to that affirmation within yourself. Um, I prosper wherever I turn. I have some here. I'm worthy of all the good things in life. The universe is abundant. There's more than enough for all to enjoy. I am open and receptive to all the good and abundant things in the universe. All very true. But if you're not in a certain space, as you hear those things and your body gives some resistance, then that's a key that you kind of need to work on it. What do you think about this particular thing that is not true for you? Why? Why is that coming up? And writing it over and over and over and over and over and over until you start to see that it's true, right? Until you start to know that this is my truth and I am worthy of these things. And I find that to be very, very, very excellent. And you can go back to these things, your goal setting, your visions, and see how you've progressed over time and what areas you need to continue to do the work. I joke with my friends and sometimes with my clients that it's almost like, I've during my healing journey, I have brainwashed myself to understand that I am lovable and I am worthy. And, again, when I look out and I see the sky and I see the ocean, I see all of these signs of abundance to know that I am part of this. I am part of that design and I am absolutely worthy of all those good things, right? Until you know that it's true, keep working on it. And that's how I would probably use those things. And like I said, those same exercises of just answering some of the questions I shared today to help to uncover where some of those blockages and challenging areas are for us.
Yeah, I definitely can see a lot of folks can get stuck in those limiting beliefs and those fears, and just asking, if you woke up and you were in true abundance, how would you know? What would be different? Like, that is amazing. That just, can unstick you from only seeing, what your limiting beliefs are. And so, yes, oh my gosh, that is a game changer right there, to just have you to be able to just shift. Even if it's just that one little bit, you could now start to see, what would my life look like if I was in abundance, right? Before it was like, I'm not worthy of abundance. Now you're seeing it, and that is powerful stuff. For you, you shared a bit about your own personal journey. So using these different tools and modalities in your life, how has this impacted your own healing journey?
My life today is, and who I am inside and how I feel is completely different. Is completely different. And sometimes, these core beliefs, they pop up every once in a while, like I said, and you just gotta put them back in check. And I'm very careful because I understand the power of thought in our mind. I understand that power. I do not and I will not allow myself to give into those fears and doubts, because there's too much riding on, my personal success, my personal happiness. And I love what I do and all all the different things that I do. Like, what do you do? But no, I love being able to help people, and I love being able to help people to shift and change their life. I love seeing those transformations, and I understand how important it is for me to continue to do the work. So it's almost like there is no option. I'm not going back to who I was and where I was, and those fears and that doubt, and just struggling with, again, for me, just worthiness and not feeling lovable. And sometimes people look and they see you smiling and they just don't know what emptiness or sadness or whatever you're holding inside. And so, yeah, for me was just squashing all of that junk and just continually working on aligning with who I am and my purpose, my greater purpose. I think another important piece in my journey, and I hope again this kind of relates for others as well, is kind of breaking down expectations
Mm.
and breaking and breaking down labels and these sort of social constructs, if you will, because for me again in my journey it helped me a lot, because if I would have tried to stay in the box and the labels that people wanted to place on me, then I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't be able to help the people that I help in the way that I can. Right. So, these labels are like little sticky notes, if you will, that people place on you, and again try to fit you in a particular box. But I think having true integrity, and this is another one I say to myself all the time, how important it is that I have integrity towards myself and towards my word, and then how I live my life, that there is that consistency and that alignment. And so sometimes we're living, and I would say I was very much a people pleaser. That's something that maybe more people struggle with earlier on in their lives and kind of break out of that, hopefully, eventually. But, when you're living for other people and you're living to serve their expectations, your happiness and your peace and your integrity towards yourself and what you want and deserve, and whatever your needs are, get pushed to the side. So labels are they're like little sticky notes that people kind of place on us in terms of their expectations, and we can get caught up and in a place of living a life that is not truly authentic, because we're living for others. We're trying to put all of our energy into people pleasing, and so we can lose a sense of that integrity that we have towards ourselves. And tying in with abundance, I really think true wealth and living a truly abundant life is really living a life that is best for us. And living a life that is best for us does not mean that we need to harm people, right? It doesn't mean that we're not going to help and serve and assist the people that we love, but it means that we're not going to harm ourselves. We're going to love ourselves and treat ourselves with compassion and all the things that we would extend to everybody else. And so I think breaking down some of those labels and some of those social constructs is what can help to align you to make those choices that will lead us, again, to that happier, wholer experience of ourselves and of the lives that we hope to create. And some of those labels are, you're a mom. So what does that mean? What do you do? What do you not do? You are a woman. What expectations are tied in with that? You are a man. You are too old. You are too young. You are this. You are that. Right? All these things that just kind of stop us, or we allow in our minds to stop us from going after some of these truths. So going after the abundance that is our right. So I think some of those affirmations again that we can use to shift some of our thinking around labels. I prosper wherever I turn. I'm worthy of all the good things in life. The universe is abundant. There's more than enough for all to enjoy. That includes you partaking of the goodness of life as well as others. It doesn't have to be self-sacrificial, so to speak, and some of these labels that people put on us. I am open and receptive to all the good and abundance that's in the universe. For me, these labels, these social constructs was a huge challenge. Even when it came to some of my healing with some of my other relationships, was they weren't functioning optimally, or I wasn't having as much peace and contentment and happiness within these. And I don't necessarily mean romantic relationships. I mean any relationships in our lives, because my expectations were not in line with who that person was or how that person, loved or lived or where they were in their space, or I was misinterpreting their actions. You know, these expectations. It's all, again, it's all in our heads. But if we recognize other people for who they are in their authentic space and who we are, we now have the power to decide how we will let people in our lives, or who we will allow people in our, you know, what people we will allow in our circles, or what experiences we want to have or don't want to have. And we have that power because we no longer are so impacted by what other people think or say. Because, you know, you can show up and you can have 10 people love you for various reasons and 10 people hate you for various reasons. So what are you, what's the matter? You know, what's the value? What's the value in that? Live authentically for who you are and what you want, and dispel some of those labels and social constructs. Many people told me it was not valuable, it would not be well received for me to be a realtor and a kinesiologist, or for me to be a yoga teacher and in finances, because those two things were conflicting. And it took me a while, like 2 years, let's say, of me just kind of, you know, kind of struggling with that. When I step out in social situations, do I present myself as the yoga teacher, CBT therapist, or the realtor? And if I am one, why can't I be the other? And that's where I came up with my whole concept: health, wealth, and real estate, of having abundance in mind, body, and bank account. Because I, as an individual, I'm passionate about both of these things. I want to, you know, I'm busy tree huggers, walk around barefoot in the grass and feel the nature. But I also am great at negotiating and doing financial planning and being very successful in finances. And I can teach, you know, classes on people how to invest. But it doesn't mean that I, you know, I can't be both of these things, because I am. We all can be, and we need to open our minds, expand, and let go of some of that stuff, because we stop ourselves from living our truth. We stop ourselves from the abundance that we have. We all have a unique, you know, message and purpose and vision, and we can't be kept in boxes. It's not serving. It's not serving our.
Absolutely. And it goes back to what you were sharing earlier with CBT, challenging. Why do I have to fit in only one box? Why can't I have multiple boxes? Why, you know, I do exist. I am a yoga teacher and I am in finances. It does happen in life, because I am here, standing here to tell you this happens. It works for me just fine. Right. And so the challenging and, you know, really putting those holes in the labels and the boxes that we think we need to fit in. And when you look at aligning yourself with your core values and where you're wanting to go, but you know, you have all those fears, but you're letting fear be that passenger, right? And you're taking control. And you feel like you know, you've been living that way for a while. When you say you continue to do the work, what does that work look like for
Great.
you? Because you've been doing this for so long.
Yes. You know what? We're multifaceted. So I eat well. I'm a vegetarian. I recognize the importance of putting healthy, natural, nutrient-rich foods in my body, because I notice the difference how I feel when I do and I don't, right? It's all, for me, it's all about energy. I take the time to meditate. I take the time to fast. I do my yoga. I go to the gym regularly. I have my routines. I need to feel physically, and you know, in that physical realm, so to speak. I need to feel good. I need to feel confident. I need to feel healthy. I want to enjoy my life. I want to have the energy to experience vitality. So I'm working on those things. And when we talk about balance, it's another another topic, is like sometimes, like I recognize that there is a bit of a sway. So there might be times where there's a little bit more focus in one area of my life. There's times and there's seasons, and then there's times where things sway a little bit, but I'm always looking at how I can continue to support the best version of myself, right? There is part of the reason, again, why I love yoga and meditation so much is because it's always working on bringing you back to the basis of just being, of just existing, of just aligning with the true authentic self, which is like, your love, like I said, your connection to nature, that abundance, that worthiness, because in day-to-day life we have so much going on and it's easy to get pulled away from that. There's some wonderful grounding exercises that I love to do myself and with my clients, and it really is helpful if meditation isn't really like your thing, something you're so interested in. Sometimes people really struggle with that. Grounding exercises, when you start to feel that anxiety and that self-doubt, is to just pause and breathe. So you have box breathe, breathe in for one count, breathe out for one count, breathe in for one count, breathe out for one count, and center yourself and come back, right? Sometimes we use our senses. So if you're eating, just kind of grounding yourself in that moment. What am I tasting? What am I smelling? What am I seeing? And just bringing yourself into that state. And the more you can practice being present, just being in the moment, then you can slow things down and identify, oh, in this moment, it's fear. This is not a fact. This is just a fear coming up. This is a limiting belief. I'm trying to make a move forward, and I'm feeling this hesitation and this resistance. I have to be able to pull it back and assess and then redirect, so that I don't, end up going in the wrong direction because of an untruth or limiting or core value that is not in line with where I want to be. So these grounding, these breathing, those things are really, really, really important. One of my folks I love to read and listen to is Deepak Chopra. He says, like, the real purpose of life is to connect with the generosity of spirit and let it provide everything you need. So this bliss consciousness is joy in the here and the now. It helps you harmonize between what you need and what you desire. When you have true joy from within, you find abundance of love, compassion, health, resources, and there is no reason to seek any area of fulfillment to compensate for a lack of joy or the infinite possibilities that you hold within. And I love that. I love him. And it's just the power of being present in there. And I really, that's where doing the work is just coming back to that place all the time, who I am, being in touch with that inner joy. Because again, when you're in that alignment and you're in that space, everything you need is going to be provided for you, regardless of anything that's going on. That what you need is coming, right? You just know that undoubtedly that is the truth. But it's just being able to stop and not get distracted by the lie.
Yes. And, everything that you've shared and talked about with us is hearing what storylines are happening in your thoughts and challenging them or putting them in their place in the passenger or the back seat. I'm driving, and using that grounding to get yourself back into that moment to then be able to say, I need to challenge that thought or even be aware of that thought, because they're always on automatic. Just keep going and going and going, right? Yes. And so that's huge. And what, the transformation that you've described of your own life and how, you're completely different person than where you were when you were feeling not worthy, not lovable. And here you are teaching others to embody this type of work, to see the transformations that are happening for them. Is there anything that you feel is like number one that people need to really hear from what you've shared with us today? Like, please, if anything you hear, what would that be?
It was just, again, recognizing that you have a choice. You are so powerful, and you can live the life of your dreams. You can do it. And I think it really comes back to that. But like I said, it truly is a lot of work. There's a lot of junk. There's a lot of things that we are from wherever, again, from wherever it's coming from, our past experiences, our childhood, different relationships, and just little moments when we talked about like overgeneralizing and things, just little moments that we just downloaded within us to have some particular meaning that just shapes our whole world. You don't have to subscribe to those things. Do not don't let fears and doubts and limiting beliefs drive you. Understand that there's an alternate choice for you to experience, and you're not going to experience it if you are stuck in a place of lack, of a lack mindset, of a scarcity mindset. My cookie analogy. I tried this analogy a couple weeks ago, and I didn't feel it went so well. So please, I'm gonna try it again. You can help me work through this, okay? So, when it comes to like our mindset, okay, and this is again around like lack and scarcity, because this is the mindset that is completely in opposition to experiencing that abundance in our mind, our mindset, our body, our bank accounts. Okay, complete opposite to that is existing in a scarcity mindset and a lack mindset. So I gave the example of being young, and I don't know if you guys had this, but like grandma or mommy loves to bake you cookies and bring you treats. And if you are operating from a place of lack or scarcity, when these treats are brought to you, you might just like hide them somewhere, or you just kind of nibble away, but you put them in, you're afraid that you're not going to get another treat, you're not going to get another toy, and you just put it away and you don't want to use it. Maybe in the Bible, this story is with the talents, right? The unused talents that were buried. So you put these things away. Well, regardless of whether you ate all the cookies or you put it away, you're not getting like, you're afraid that there's not going to be any more. So you're restricting yourself. Where if you ate the cookies with gratitude and you said, thank you, mommy, thank you, grandma, oh my gosh, these were so great. Your grandmother who loves you is going to want to give you more treats, more excitement. You know what I'm saying? You're in that gratitude mindset. You're in an abundant mindset. You're going to get more. But if you hid them away, didn't use them, put them under the bed, and no one saw, oh, maybe so-and-so doesn't like the cookies. Maybe you don't like the gifts that I gave you. And then they stop and you're kind of stuck. So I try to use that to understand that the universe and the way all of this works is they're responding to you and your thoughts and your actions. So if you are operating from a place of scarcity and fear, you really are stuck there. And that's what the universe kind of gives back. You get get back what you put in. You operate in a place of gratitude and understand that things are coming and more will come. And so you can freely give and you can freely enjoy. The universe also, responds to you in that fashion and in that space as well. And so I would want people to understand that your thoughts impact your actions and your behaviors, and it impacts your outcome. And I would want you to know that you can choose something different. Once you become aware of it and you've recognized it, you can make different choices and you can create different outcomes.
Amazing. I thank you so much for taking the time to speak on true abundance. And it is multi-layered. It is in all areas and not just finances. It's easy to see the finances because you either have money in the bank or you don't, you know what I mean? Like, I get it, but true abundance is having that freedom that you spoke about, having that peace of mind, having, just, I guess, being in a place where that you're in control of your choices and what direction you're aiming towards. And that's a huge freedom.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you so much. Reggae artist Bob Marley, he says, some people are so poor that all they have is money. And I would, in the striving for abundance, I would feel that people really miss the fullness of this if it was focused on only one area. And, truly, as you open your mind, you just understand that, creativity and resources and everything is unlimited. Joy, bliss is unlimited for you. Eternal, love, internal love, loving kindness, grace, all of these good things, health, vitality within your body, all of these things are like your right. And, and anything opposite to that is truly just unnatural. And I wish the best for everybody who is, joining us today and taking this in. I really want you to feel empowered to know that that it's possible, and the money flows, because once you're in that good energy and you're doing things and you're helping people and you're following your passions and you're impactful, you're giving, right, giving to the world, it will come back and abundantly. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.